Alright, what we have here is what I thought was going to be a finished product, but we have that issue with the axle going through the body being made of plastic and just too much friction. So I'm going to move this away just to see what we have. Alright, so this right here was a solid plastic piece, and it printed out inside this. There was a little bit of room for it to rotate, but the surfaces of the plastic were too rough and it didn't spin freely. So this is hollow all the way through. So what I'm going to do is modify this to fit the new plan, which is to have an axle that is 1.3 millimeters, actually 1.5 millimeters, to give a little bit of room for that to be able to move around. Alright, so since I have a hole that's too big, I just simply need to fill in the hole. So I'm going to try to find the center. Sometimes it's easier to draw a line. That looks like the right spot. So now I can draw a circle here on the green axis. That's the left arrow on the end point. And then simply push-pull this all the way through. I'm only going to do this to one axle just to show you an example. So now I filled in the hole, but this is still, these are just faces. If I select one of these and look at the properties, that's a face. So I need to go in and select the multiple faces. I'm going to use X-ray view to see the inside here to make sure I select the right ones. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect this one. That was a little bit difficult to see. What I could do is just move the car away for a second. It's going to make it easier to select. So I'm going to go ahead and move this. Let's move it like 100 should be fine. Alright, so now I can select these items, group them into a solid. Then I'm going to move my car back. Whoops. Along the green axis, 100. So now I need to use a solid editing tool. And I want to use Union. Let's do outer shell. Outer shell fills in all the gaps. Just in case there are any. I don't think there are any, but... Oh. That was not a solid. Let me go back a step. Oh, I had this line in there. Okay, that's the problem. Ah. There we go. Make group. That is now solid. Right now I can move this back. And now I'm going to use the solid editing, and we're going to use outer shell. I'm just going to select that one because it'll be easier to select that one first, then select this one second. Now that's all solid material all the way through. So now I need to make our new hole for the smaller diameter metal rod. So I'm going to do a 0.75 radius, 0.75, enter. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this line now. and then push pull this all the way through. Alright, so now I have this new rod that's going all the way through, and what I want to do is make sure that's a solid. So I'm going to use the same technique, just move my car out of the way for a second. Oops, didn't need to select that. And now select this and make this a group. And then make sure that's a solid, yep. Now I'm going to move this back. And then now I'm going to subtract to make a hole again. So that's another solid editing tool. Subtract. Select the small little guy first. Alright. Let's take a look-see here. So I should be able to see all the way through that. So that is the goal. So if you already have a drawing and it's already 3D, you can follow those steps to modify your current drawing. And then since this is now going to be replaced with a metal rod, so the metal rod's going to go all the way through here, and then it's also going to go through my wheels. I have to redesign my plan for my wheels, so I'm just going to make a simple wheel with a 0.75 radius hole in the center. And I can just draw this flat on the ground because it's going to print separately. Radius, and then push pulling this up about 3. Then just create another circle. .75. And then I'm just going to erase this here. So this is just a very simple wheel. You can make yours much more elaborate with some spokes and stuff if you want to. Make it fancy looking, but the center hole for that metal rod to go through should be 1.5 millimeters or 0.75 millimeter radius circle. I'm just going to push pull this to remove this circle. I need to make this a solid. So I'm going to select this. The cylinder. There might not be a surface on the top. I might just need to erase this bottom thing. Oh, nope, it actually just removed it. Great. So sometimes a shape will go ahead and make a hole, and sometimes it just makes a cylinder. So because there wasn't already a hole there, it assumed I wanted to use that shape to create a hole. So this is still not a solid. So the next step I need to do is just group this. And there we have it. So you don't need to, I could just copy these and make 4 of them. You get the idea. So hopefully that helps with correcting this issue that we're going to have here with the axles. Alright, so the next step I'm going to do is I made a video showing you how to do make a hole in the body and create the little nozzle for the balloon to attach to. And because my car is a little bit more complex, the video was pretty complex as well. So I'm going to simplify that and just start with a really simple car. So I'm just going to use a rectangle. I'm just going to make me a new car over here. So obviously this is a really simple car. But just imagine this is the front and then this is the back. And what I need to do is make an exit hole and then have a little nozzle somewhere here where the balloon can attach to. And I'm going to do this in the very simplest way possible, expecting that you'll take a little bit more time and be a little bit more creative once you understand the concept. So I'm just going to make an X on the back here to mark the spot for where the air is going to travel out of the body. And then I'm going to make a shape because I kind of like where this nozzle is towards the front and not directly on the back. It's just my own preference. So I'm going to draw a path along the side here, just with the line. Starting with this point here. This is where I want it to end. And the most simple line I can make is like just a couple straight lines. I could just do a 90-degree if I wanted to. There's going to be issues with that because you can modify this later. This could be one of your modifications, but this extreme right angle right here, if you imagine airflow, it's going to flow down. It's going to hit this wall and then be forced out the back. It'd be better if there's a smooth line or maybe a series of straight lines that kind of curve this around so that the airflow is more streamlined towards the back of the car. So this is the easiest form, but it's not the best for performance. So what I'm going to do now is just move these lines temporarily out of the way. Nope, because it's attached. So let's go ahead and, before I do that, actually let me just undo that line. I want to make this a group.
So it's all one solid. It's a solid group now. So now I can just draw on this.
Alright, now I'm going to select these lines and move them out of the way. So if I had a more complex line, it would take more time than I just spent on that, of course. And it would be a lot more strategic. But for now, for time's sake, I'm just going to go quickly move this out of the way, and I'm going to place it right there. And now I'm going to use the Follow Me tool with a circle and make a tube here. So let's go ahead and do the circle. And I'm guessing a good size for this is going to be 8 millimeters. So it'd be a 4 millimeter radius. And now I want to select the Follow Me tool. Select the face of the circle and then just drag it along the path all the way to the end here. Alright, now I want to make this a solid. So I'm going to select the top and each of the cylinders, and then the back here. Right click, make a group, make sure it's a solid group. It is, and now I'm going to use the Move tool to move this from the end point here to my X marks the spot over here. So I have a solid inside a solid, and now I can use that to remove and make a tunnel in my car. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Solid editing, I want to subtract, and I want to select this little guy first, and then the car second. There we go. It would tunnel all the way through so the air can escape So the next thing I need to do is create that nozzle thing that the balloon attaches to. And again, I'm kind of just designing based on what I think will work well. So what I want to do is create a circle that is about 8 millimeters. So that would be a total of 16. So an 8 radius. Then I'm going to push pull this up. Whoops. And I'm just trying to imagine a balloon and how much I want to attach. I'll say about like that much. Now there's not a hole here, but I still need another ring. Let me show you over here what I mean. So this ring is going to keep the balloon from flying off that nozzle. So like this top hat type of look here, like an upside down top hat. So I need to make that part over here. And that measurement is a total of 20 in diameter, so a radius of 10. We're going to ever find the center. There we go. So 10. Now I can get rid of this line. It's going to be hidden inside if I don't right now. And push pull this up. And I'm going to do, let's say, 4 millimeters. Alright, so everything that I've modeled so far here is not a solid. And it looks like, let me go ahead and view this in more of a normal view. Yes, there's a solid here that I need to punch a hole in. I'm actually going to go ahead and push pull this up to the surface and just get rid of this circle. And then I'm going to just create another line so I can find the center really quickly. And then I'm going to draw another circle. This is going to be 4, which was the measurement of the hole. And I'm going to push pull this down to here. Alright, now that should be hollow all the way through. But it's still not as solid. So I need to select everything that I created on top here. And I might need to move this out of the way if I can. I might just group it first. Okay, so this is just a group because I can't really see what's going on underneath. So it's probably missing a surface under there. So I'm going to move it out of the way. Make sure I know which direction I moved it. Oh, there was a surface there, but it was really hard to see. So I'm going to move it out of the way and make sure I know how far. So 50. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. And then recreate a surface on the bottom here. Alright, now I should just be able to erase this guy. Delete. Finally. Delete that guy. Group this. And we got a solid group. Yay. We're going to move this back on the green axis. And that was 50, I believe. Correct. Now I'm going to use a solid editing tool to combine this. So I'm going to use the outer shell. I already have that one selected, so I just need to select this. So now this is all one solid group, all one body. Let me view this in X-ray. So we can see all the way through. So my little brick car, if I just added some wheels, a couple axles and some wheels, we'd be good to go. So in your design, a couple things to avoid would be you don't want to create a tube that's going to intersect your axle holes, because then the air would escape out of those axle holes, or it just wouldn't flow smoothly. So over here on this car, I had to create a tube that kind of went over and then down to avoid this rear axle here. So that's a little bit complicated. And when I created this nozzle on here, I wanted it to be a little slanty. So I put it over here as a solid and rotated it to get this kind of look here. And then you may be wondering, do I need to have these little things that stick out? The answer to that question is yes. So if you don't have them, then there's nothing keeping your wheel from just sliding back and forth on that little rod in the center. So basically what these things do is hold the wheel out away from the body. If it was all the way close to the body, it would rub against the side, and you wouldn't want that either. So what this is going to do is keep the wheel away from the body and minimize friction. So you'll need to have a little bit of an extension out away from the body of the car, and you could be creative in how you make that. Alright, let me know if you have any questions. You can send me an email. I'd be glad to hop on a Zoom to help you out too if you need that.